Hey guys, Tisha here, and we're back for another Sister Wives Season 4 review. This one is episode 2. So let me start off by saying that I stand corrected. This entire time I've thought that Robyn did not have a job, but she let us know in the very beginning of this episode that Cody has been able to get a brand new car through their marketing job. So Robyn was working. Even though they're all supposedly working at this marketing job, Cody was the one who got the bonus, which was this new car. I'll be honest, I don't really think that they're all working, and I don't really know what they consider to be working, because why is he the only person who got the vehicle? He pulls up with the car, and the kids and the moms are extremely excited. We see the ladies hop into the car, and Janelle drives around the block and comes back. And the ladies mention that this is the perfect car for a date car. So, of course, what happens next is we see Cody begin to take his wives on dates. Cody lets us know that the purpose of these dates is to help nurture the relationships that he has with each wife. We begin with Meri, and we find out that they're going skiing. Cody promised that he would take Meri skiing years ago, 22 years to be exact. And he decided that now, because of the show and the money that they have, that he's going to fulfill this promise 22 years later. So, me personally, if I went 22 years for you to fulfill a promise, I'm not sure if I would be as excited about going, especially since it was something as simple as skiing. When they come from places, but I was thinking of the place Utah that has plenty of opportunities for them to ski. As Cody arrives at Meri's, he's letting us know that at this point he feels like he is in 4 separate monogamous relationships because of how much time has passed since the last time he saw her. I understand that they agreed that with this arrangement that he would spend each night with each wife, like this wife would get this night, etc., etc. But I don't understand how, if you only live a mile away at most, the wives from each other, why is it that Cody can't stop in for like 30 minutes each day before he goes to that wife's house to spend the night? I don't see what the big deal is. I don't think that Cody is working 12 hours a day. I just feel like he could have made better effort sometimes, and you can't make me believe that having a brand new baby, that he allowed it to be a thing where he didn't see that baby at least once a day. I refuse to believe that. He lets us know that Meri and him did not start out romantically, that they started out as friends. I believe, according to him, what he says now is that the only person that this didn't happen with is Robyn. But we're going to go with what he's saying back then, which was that they didn't start off romantically, that it grew over time, that they developed a relationship based on character, and at the time that was what was most important to him. We see them skiing, we see Meri falling a whole bunch, but they're having a great time. There's a lot of laughter until Meri falls and injures her knee. As a suggestion of the EMT that is on site, he suggests that she no longer skis and that she puts ice on it. It's a good thing that she no longer skied, because we later found out that she tore one of her ligaments and it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks to heal. We see them go inside and grab hot chocolate, and they're sitting at the table while Meri's icing her knee, and he decides to go down memory lane, saying that them sitting there drinking hot chocolate reminds him of when he was courting Meri. And I was like, okay, is this what he does? Does he use hot chocolate as a romantic tactic? Because I remember that one of the dates that we saw him and Robyn go on that Robyn claimed was so romantic involved them outdoors drinking hot chocolate too. So I feel like this is a thing. We find out that when he proposed to her that it wasn't very romantic. It was Christmas Eve. She turned around and he handed her a box and said, maybe we should get married if you want to. He says nobody got the romance, but maybe Robyn, because by that time he was a lot older. And as he's saying this, Meri says, Robyn, Robyn, Robyn. This makes me feel like there were times where he spoke a lot about Robyn while he was with her, much like we know he was struggling at times when he couldn't see Robyn. I remember Christine talking about that, saying about how he was lovesick when he wasn't able to see Robyn. So I think that he discussed Robyn maybe too often with some of his wives. Meri reminds us that their plan had always been to take on more wives into the family. But I don't really believe Meri's saying this, because we find out in one of the episodes that involved his mother that Meri wasn't sure whether or not she wanted to be a part of polygamy. And that at some point her and Cody talked about it and he kind of convinced her. So I don't really buy this whole Meri is the one who brought people in. I think that Meri knew that that's what would make Cody happy, and Meri was very in love with Cody, so she did what she felt Cody wanted and what her religion required of her. We go down memory lane of their wedding, and I will say that at the wedding, it did look like, at the reception at least, because we didn't see the wedding, it did look like they were very much in love. We even see Cody singing to Meri. I can't help but notice how much these adults look like their children when we see flashbacks, and even now. And it's interesting to see how much Gwen really looks like her dad. Meri brings up that there are times when Cody says that he's going to do something special for one of the sister wives, and some part of her can't help but think, man, I you know, that's nice. When am I going to get to go? So as a result, that kind of makes her nervous sometimes of when she does things in front of him. I don't understand what that was about. I know she spoke of this in a clip after Cody was asking her if she needed anything after she messed up her knee, but I just didn't understand what the point of her saying that was. Kind of made me feel like TLC used it out of sequence. She says she doesn't want to show her emotions about how she's feeling sometimes because she doesn't want to hurt the other sister wives. And I think that's part of the problem. I think that these wives spend a lot of time worrying about what the other wives are going to think rather than focusing on their marriage and the family. And as a result, it's created some other issues. We then see Janelle and her family. She lets us know that her house starts waking up at 5:45 because the older kids have to go to school early. I remember that was a big adjustment for me coming out of New York and moving to Virginia, because when I was in New York, I didn't have to go to first, second, or third. I think I started during fourth block and went to 12, but I didn't start school until like 10 o'clock. So starting school at 10 o'clock in the morning in New York, and then moving to Virginia where I started school at like 7:05, it was a major adjustment for me. So I could see how that would be a difference if the kids aren't used to getting up that early. Garrison and Gabe are going at it again over some silly things. Janelle is about to leave the house with Logan. They didn't mention it, but I think that Logan takes Janelle to work or something, or either they leave at the same time, because at some point he does go and get some of his older siblings, because I heard her say, make sure that Aspen and them are up. So I think that he drops them off at school. She also tells one of the sons, Gabe, to wake up Savannah and do it gently. We see him waking her up. It's not gently. She's not responding. He takes her doll at one point and says, if you don't get up, then I'm going to give your doll a swirly. And he puts the doll in the toilet and gives her a swirly. Gabe was a handful. I just like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing, Gabe. And now you're so quiet. I would never peg you now as how you were back then. We see Janelle and Cody go on their date, which is a hike. As they're on this date, Janelle is very excited because her stamina is different. She's more flexible. She's not out of breath like she was before. She's able to do more. And she says that although she's lost like 18 inches and only 10 pounds in 6 months, that she's seen a significant difference in her health and in her mobility. And it just makes her feel like she never wants to go back to where she was. We hear about how when they initially got married that things were a little difficult, but after having Logan, that things got better for them, that the children kind of helped them get closer as a family, and how they both feel like they're more in love now than they ever would. She doesn't feel like when the kids get older and leave and move out and it's an empty nest, she doesn't feel like it would affect them. I guess she was kind of right, because they weren't affected by the kids. They were affected by Cody falling in love with Robyn. We see Christine, who was talking to Gwen about the father-daughter dance. She decided that she wanted to ask Logan to be her date because she didn't want to share him with 4 of the girls. She wants to have Logan to herself. Shows you that even at a young age that Gwen desired to have her own personal time. Christine then walks Gwen to school and lets us know that she plans on seeing Meri later to check in on her. We then hear from Cody how each wife has their own separate relationships with the sister wife. If the relationship is going bad with him and another sister wife, sometimes they'll try to get advice from each other. This begins to allow me to see one of the many reasons why sometimes the wives were privy to the problems that were going on in each other's marriages. I don't think it was a good idea that they shared this type of information with each other, because all I feel like it does is create more jealousy. We keep hearing about jealousy, jealousy, jealousy. And if you're having all these problems and you see other wives that are doing really great, I could understand how sometimes that would create issues. Christine then arrives at Meri's, and the first thing she points out is this family picture that she sees at Meri's house. She says that her and Cody do not have a recent family picture with all the children in it, and she doesn't feel right asking him to take one right now because they're not in a good place. I feel like she should have been able to ask that regardless of whatever place they were in, but that was the energy that she was picking up from her husband, so I have to respect that that's the energy she was picking up from her husband. Meri, says that at one point her and Cody were in a similar place, but things won't get better until Christine starts changing and start doing things differently. This made me feel like the only true way to please Cody is if you operate from a standpoint of doing what he wants you to do. Christine became too opinionated for him, because it seemed like when she started talking more about some of her grievances, that's when they started having problems. She says, at what point does Cody realize that he's made mistakes too? And Meri says sometimes it takes him a really long time. She says has he realized that he's made mistakes with you? Meri is reluctant. She kind of hesitates on it, but she says there have been times that he said he was stupid, but it takes a long time. Then she adds that it's hard for guys to come back and say they were wrong. I don't agree with that. I feel like that it depends on the person. It has nothing to do with gender. I remember in a previous relationship that I was the one that struggled with saying that I was wrong. And as a result, it kind of forced me to do a lot of self-reflecting, because why was it so hard for me to say that I was wrong? What's wrong with admitting that you're wrong when you know you're wrong? But I think maybe Cody doesn't realize he's wrong. Some part of Cody believes the mess that comes out of his mouth. Christine feels like she has to do everything one-sided, and like she's always expected to fix herself, and Cody is not. Meri says you do. What, Meri? She says you do. Meri claims that it helped her to do that. But Christine says, I don't see how it's helped you. She says that I've seen how you've been sweet all the time and how he doesn't even see you as a priority. Christine then points out that how Cody didn't go out of town for Meri last year. She didn't have a trip. She didn't do anything special for her birthday or anniversary with him. Meri makes an excuse saying it was bad timing, but she keeps thinking that it's going to happen. I was wondering when during her next birthday, and it just so happens that it is going to happen during her next birthday because her next birthday isn't far away. She says it matters to her, but she pushes her feelings to the side. This is not a good thing. I would think that if something's bothering you, that's when you would say something, but apparently her approach is what works best for her and Cody. This courtship did a number on Christine. Christine says that she no longer feels like she is special or like their relationship is easy. I will say that Cody betrayed her by getting another wife. That's what it all boils down to. Like, she's saying everything but that. It was a betrayal to her. She felt like he balanced the 3 wives well, but he doesn't balance 4 well. She said that she doesn't feel like she can trust him to come back around to where they were. And Meri said that she feels like that's what's keeping Cody away, that Cody doesn't want to feel the griping, like he doesn't always want the nitpicking and stuff. And she uses Isabel as an example of how it feels to have somebody always griping. And I was like, that doesn't add up. Don't use the issues that she goes with her child, with the nitpicking and the complaining and stuff, as something that she goes through with her husband. We're talking about adult relationships versus a mother and a child. I don't feel like that's the same thing. She tells her, Meri says, don't bring up the problems you and Cody have. To me, sometimes it's about delivery. I get that no one wants to be constantly ridiculed about what they're doing wrong, but I also feel like it's important to express yourself. Meri tells her to focus on the fun. I just don't understand who wants to be in a relationship where you constantly have to walk on pins and needles. I never really thought about it, but this was all a first for Christine. She never had to be the first wife. Meri then adds how hard it is when a wife joins a family. She says you have to find your role in your place, and Christine is struggling with that. Here, Meri is giving Christine advice about how she needs to be, but this is Meri's 3rd time going through this, and it affected and bothered her as well. She too is trying to find her place. So I'm looking at Meri like, girl, you're struggling too. So of course, if you, who's been through this on 3 separate occasions, is struggling, how do you feel like this woman who's only been through it this one time and who thought she was going to be the last wife feels? Robyn says she got the text about Meri needing help, but she couldn't go to help her because she had 4 sick kids. Cody and Christine go out on their date. We see them go paintballing per Christine's request. She said it's something interactive. They get to act out their frustrations on each other. And both her and Cody add that they don't have to worry about their problems because when they're talking too much, that's when a lot of the problems come up. And I'm like, wow, so y'all don't communicate because if a problem comes up, Cody doesn't want to deal with it, basically. As an additional surprise after they're done, we get to see her go on a helicopter. She's psyched, she's shocked, she's excited. It's also something that she has been wanting to do for years. We then hear again about how the relationship was light, and since Robyn, they've been struggling. When Cody first met Christine, he said he felt like this bolt of energy and he really, really liked her. She told him how out of all the guys she knows that he's the one she wants to marry. And then because she said that, he decided to call her dad, who's the head of the church, and ask if he could court her. 2 months later, they were married. We hear yet again about how Christine wanted to be the 3rd and last wife. She felt the 3rd wife had the easiest job, that with the 1st and the 2nd, it got rough, and by the time she would come in, that they would have some things worked out. But she then realized that it wasn't going to be fun. She said that Cody was not the person courting her, that he was being married to her, that she didn't get the fun, easygoing, or the life of the party Cody. She got another side. In Kody's words, besides loving her, so you heard that, he loves her. He loved her. Besides loving her, the great thing about her was that she was able to manage the relationships with the wives and bring some peace. She became the icing on the cake. How do you go from that to saying that you were never attracted to her, that you never were in love with her, and all those things? I feel like this is part of the reason why Christine has so much to say about Kody now, because he really did put her through the ringer when you look at some of this stuff. Christine is beaming after this trip. We see them go sit down for some yogurt. She says, I'm sorry, honey. It's been a rough year. Meri had a great talk with me today, and I'm going to be more grateful. And he is really excited that she's apologizing, and he tells her, I love you and all that other stuff. We know that this doesn't fix things. It seems like Christine needed more one-on-one time with Kody, and because he did these dates, it gave her that space. And some people do need that. I know me personally, I'm kind of a homebody to a certain extent, and my man works a lot. I'm about to give all my business away. I'll just say this. I can understand when the desire is to not just be in the house. I can understand that Christine wants to go out, especially if in Christine's situation, she talks about a lot of times he comes over there and they don't even interact, and he waits to the last minute and then goes to sleep. This meant a lot to Christine, and they needed it. Dayton came home with a cough, and now all of them are sick, and Robyn is worn out. But despite all the kids being sick, Robyn is still going on this date with Kody. We hear how Robyn has great sister wives, according to Robyn, and how Kody has done a great job with the kids. So once again, Robyn is having a good time being a sister wife. It's not as horrible as she tried to make it seem in more recent episodes about how much trauma she's went through. Unlike at Christine's house, Robyn lets us know that Kody is there 100% for her and her kids when he's there. She loves him for it. Meanwhile, because Kody has fallen in love with not just Robyn, but her children, he lets us know he's able to shoulder his responsibility. Good thing this isn't COVID, because Robyn calls Maddie to come over and to watch her children so that she can go on this date with Kody. Insert all the eye rolls, put them down in the chat, the poop emojis, anything that talks about how trash Robyn is for this. Because I don't feel like if Robyn's kids were healthy and Maddie was sick, that she would want them to come over there. But it's okay for Maddie to possibly be exposed to getting sick from your kids and all the coughs and how they're barely covering their mouths. And if Dayton spread it to all of them, who's to say he won't spread it to Maddie? But Maddie doesn't matter because that's not your biological child. I'm just saying, just my thoughts. Kody and Robyn go out on a date to the restaurant with a sick Solomon. You heard right. The baby is sick, but we're really gonna take him out on this date. When he was just coughing and doing all the other stuff, we're gonna bring him to a restaurant and take him out on this date. I don't care if she had a blanket covered over him. He's sick. He was so sick that you felt the need to take him to the doctor and get a bill, and you still took him to a restaurant. But you know, Robyn's the best, so we're not gonna question it. So they're enjoying their food. Robyn says, for our next date, when he gets a little bit older, I would like to go out to dance with you, which then has them talk about how when they first time they met, it was at a dance for Robyn's church, and how she felt a lightning bolt, but Meri was the one who pushed them together. I still don't believe this story because I don't understand what Meri and Robyn were doing at an event for her church when she lived in another state 5 hours away. The math isn't mathing, and I don't believe this. They're talking about the proposal and what that was like, and Robyn just so happens to be walking around with the original string as well as the ring that Kody gave her. I think they already knew that this is something they were going to talk about because it wasn't on her finger. She just happened to have it with her. Robyn asked him if he feels like he's too old to have more kids, and he says no. Was this something that TLC asked you to ask? Because why would you ask Kody if he felt like he was too old to have more children when we saw you after giving birth to Solomon tell Meri that you're willing to be a surrogate for her kids? So wouldn't he be too old to have them with Meri as well? Robyn said that she let Kody know very early on that when he's there at her home, that she wants his energy to be there too. They have been married for 1.5 years and they haven't had any issues because Robyn brings her concerns to him and they very gently navigate it. That's what Kody said. My opinion. Robyn has mastered handling Kody with kid gloves. Kody, I'm sure, has been complaining about his wives and some of the things that they say and they do and how they interact with them when they're upset. And I'm sure Robyn has observed it as well. And she's seen how he responds to their frustrations when they're frustrated with him and when he's frustrated with them. And as a result of how they respond to one another and seeing how Kody shuts down and all those other things, she said she's going to move accordingly. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that Robyn learned very on what works for Kody. And I'm not knocking Robyn for that. I think that Robyn was very smart in that. But I don't feel like it's fair for him to penalize the other wives for not operating in the capacity that she does. They're different women. They were okay. It was okay for him to deal with it before. But now you've gotten this more meek side of things. You have different desires. They end their date with plans to now go to a movie, and they still have the baby with them. Now today we see that they're doing a party for Dayton and Meri because they have the same birthday. We hear again about how Meri would be concerned about how Robyn was concerned about how the older kids would accept Solomon, especially Hunter. I don't know why she always zones in on Hunter. Once you saw he was okay with it, stop bringing him up. The child didn't do anything to you, but you keep wanting to bring up Hunter. It's getting on my nerves. Kody gets choked up because he's talking about how good Solomon has been for the family and how Madison posted a picture of Solomon and her cuddling, and it meant so much to him because he did it on social media. We see Kody give Meri her gift. He's taking her to Mexico for her birthday to make up for doing nothing for the last one. She's very excited. She tells him to come over. She hugs him and gives him a peck on his lips. At one point, he really did love Meri. And at this point, it was okay for them to show affection in front of each other. So I'm interested in seeing how this plays out going further along in the season. They end the confessional talking about how today is a good day, this is a good day, but all days aren't good, and that how polygamy requires a lot of work, not just between the individual relationships, but between the 5 of them. And it's not easy. Me personally, I don't know. No, let me not say I don't know. I know I wouldn't be able to be a polygamist. I don't like to share. I'm not sharing my man. I'm not doing it. At least not knowingly. That's terrible to say, but I'm going to keep it real. I mean, people are people. They go do what they want to do regardless. But me knowingly being a part of polygamy, I'm not doing it. Anyways, thanks for joining me. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. We're on the road to 400. If you have not subscribed yet, what you waiting on? Thumbs up that button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Until next time.